UFC 257, Poirier versus McGregor.
Stay tuned.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast, everybody. This is Fight Recap, UFC 257, McGregor versus Poirier.
Not a bad impression, buddy.
No.
Not a bad one at all.
What the fuck? So, let's get into it.
Let's just jump right into it.
So, initial thoughts on the main event.
Oh man, I was so happy. One, I loved how everyone in the known universe, literally everyone, there's not a single person out there who thought Dustin was going to win. Obviously, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but if you went to any site like Reddit or any of those, people were talking up like they can't wait for McGregor to win, blah 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 blah, and like there was a handful of people who would be like, don't count Poirier out, like I'm guilty too. I'm 100% guilty of it.
Yeah.
And then that performance was just textbook. It was brilliant.
It was
brilliant.
Yeah. When McGregor came out, his stance was different than he normally comes out. He was lead foot was heavy, and he was more boxing than he normally is, at least to his stance. And when he started taking those low calf kicks, I was like, ugh. And then he started limping on it. It's like, shit.
Yeah.
And then, Poirier just classic, like, unloading against the fence. And he knocked him out. Knocked him out. See, when we were talking about this lead up, I was less nervous than people were for Conor when it came to the layoff. Because of
the ring rust.
The main hurdle that people have to get over is the mental aspect of it, getting comfortable in there and whatnot. And he's usually so overly confident, or at least confident in his abilities, where that doesn't really affect him. But as we've seen time and time again, there's nothing that can replicate the real thing. And having only 40 seconds in the octagon in the last 2 years is not enough time. And Poirier's improved tremendously since their first fight.
Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he needs to get back in there. Classic Conor McGregor losing, though. He takes it on the chin.
He did. Got to give him props.
Yeah, he always does. And, I think he's going to work on that shit. I think the loss is going to make him want to come back even better and try to, I guess, focus on what he did wrong there. But, man.
It's funny that you say that because Dana White actually said relatively recently, I think, that when Conor fought Khabib, you could tell he wasn't him. Like, his mind just wasn't in it. Like, he was focusing on other things too much. And recently he was like, this is the Conor McGregor we're used to.
Yeah.
This is the Conor McGregor that's back. His mindset is 100% focused on fighting, blah, blah, blah. And it's just interesting because you're right. A lot of it is a mindset. A lot of it is a mindset. But I guess ring rust is relatively true. But another point that I want to throw out there, those shoulder strikes.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a gimmick when he fought Cowboy. Not a gimmick, because clearly it was effective.
Yeah.
But, like, they're in play.
Yeah, and
like
they were kind of doing a tit for tat with that against Cage, talking shit.
Yeah.
And he did not look – he looked good in the very beginning. The takedown, I think he gets I don't know what it is, but I think he got nervous after the takedown, whether he was going to get tired or what. But it just seemed to not be a good thing for him mentally.
Yeah.
When he got the takedown. I mean, he got up, but the low calf kicks definitely fucked him.
They fucked him. He did adjust, and he started timing it. Because he was catching them at the end, but it was too late. Yeah. The damage was done.
Yeah. His leg was basically shut off. He couldn't even really walk on it after the fight. He's not one to play up shit like that.
Yeah.
But his timing was shockingly good for not having been in there.
Yeah.
But then again, there was also some strikes there that he would, in the past, normally have connected on. Like, he missed a couple big ones by like a fraction that I think if he had more time in there, he would have connected. Yeah. He just looked kind of tense to me. He normally doesn't come out like that with his hands up. Maybe he was preparing for Dustin's boxing more so and wasn't expecting the low calf kick, but he didn't look as loose as he normally does in there, which it's weird because I think he is one of those guys where the abilities that he has, it's like everyone has the ability to beat him more than I think people think they do.
Yeah.
But for Conor to win the fight, everything has to be going for him. Like, it doesn't really seem like Conor can be like losing the fight, and then come back from like a spectacular come from behind finish. Like, he has to be 100% on with his style from kind of what I've seen. And if everything's not working properly, it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, Dustin can get into a war, come back from getting battered and beaten, and win the fight. I don't think Conor has that ability. I think he has to be 100% on the way that his style is.
Watching fights with you is funny because normally, like, a lot of other people, you'll watch fights with them and they'll be like, oh man, that was a strong punch.
Yeah.
But watching a fight with you, you'll be like, oh, you see his back foot? It's tilted 2 degrees more than it normally is. That's not a good look.
Well,
but I'm learning to listen to you because a lot of times it'll come into play. Or then the commentators will immediately turn around and be like, oh, that left foot is recovering from an injury, and that's why he's not standing quite right. And you're
coming
just like,
from zero training whatsoever, just from watching fights for years. But it was funny because there was 2 fights where the calf kick turned the tide, in my opinion, and the one was the fight 3 fights before that. And the guy, Andrew Sanchez versus Maradov.
Yeah.
Sanchez had this like karate style stance, and one of the issues with that is when you take your calf is pointed. Your lead leg is basically your toes are pointed more inward. So when they throw a low calf kick, it's harder for you to turn it and check the kick with your shin, like you're supposed to. So when they throw that kick to the calf, it's hitting all meat, and that's what shuts your leg off. So, and Conor kind of had the same thing, even though he was in boxing stance, he kept catching it on the meat. He didn't check any of the kicks, and by the time guys realize I have to start checking kicks, it's almost too late.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't take kicks to the calf like that, like you can to the thigh. For whatever reason, you just take more damage to the thigh, probably because it's bigger muscle or whatever.
Makes sense.
But we've seen fights before where guys take one kick to the calf and they can't use it for a round or 2 rounds. It takes a while to either, if it ever does, wake back up. But yeah, man, I don't know. So now that fight is done, I'm interested to see who Conor fights next.
I wonder.
I think Chandler fights.
Let's talk about the previous fights. Let's talk about Dan Hooker and Michael Chandler because I'm sure that's going to be some of the names that are going to be thrown into this.
Yeah. So I think Chandler fights Poirier for the belt. They're going to strip Khabib if Khabib doesn't come back. Doesn't look like he's coming back.
It doesn't.
No. So Michael Chandler, a lot of question marks coming into the fight, right? People in the know he's a beast. They know he's a machine. A lot of people that are casual fans are like, oh, he's Bellator. He's subpar. You know, you could be the king of the mountain if the mountain's a molehill. Like,
yeah. I knew enough to know that this was going to be an exciting fight. I didn't know enough about him to know enough. You know what I mean? Like that was ridiculous.
He's a savage.
Savage.
He's got great cardio, especially for somebody of his stature and the pace that he fights at. He hits like a tank.
He didn't show his cardio tonight.
Yeah, he could wrestle his ass off, and he can take a ton of damage.
Yeah.
You know, eventually the damage thing's going to wear out, but he fought a guy that we know is tough. We know is top level. Taller, rangier, and he still got inside and cracked him with one shot. It took Dustin Poirier, I think, 4 rounds to do that. Yeah. Michael Chandler did it in 2 minutes and 31 seconds.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to put labels on things like that, though, because different styles. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm just talking shit.
Yeah.
Yep, just talking shit.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm bad at math, and MMA math doesn't even make sense. So 2 negatives make a positive.
2 minutes and 31 seconds is greater than 4 rounds.
Exactly. So that was a huge, huge statement.
Oh, no, it was...
Yeah, and he covered himself
ridiculous.
at the end because he called out McGregor, and then he was like, fuck, what if McGregor loses? I'll call out Poirier. Well, in case that doesn't work out, Khabib. What are you doing?
Anyone.
Call out everybody.
Anyone?
Call out everybody.
Poor Justin Gage. He's out there being like, yo, what the hell?
Chandler's a fucking beast, though. Clearly still has it. Clearly still, I don't know if he's still in his prime, but he goddamn looked it.
He did. It's interesting because it was such a competitive weight class to begin with, and all of a sudden to throw in like a new guy in there.
Yeah.
It's like holy
See,
God.
Chandler versus Poirier is a very interesting fight. I would not like Conor in the Chandler fight because if Chandler can pressure, and I mean Conor's very accurate, but Chandler can take a shot.
Yeah.
And he hits like a mule. So I don't think Conor could take too many of those. Not many people can. But the Dustin versus Chandler fight, I mean, if both of those guys start slugging it out, I think in a strict gunfight, I think that Poirier goes down.
Oh.
Because I think Chandler hits harder. I think Chandler can take more damage and recover better. And we've seen Poirier get knocked out before. I mean, we've seen Chandler get stopped before, but I just think that in that gunfight, Chandler wins. And especially since Chandler is a better wrestler, he doesn't have to – I don't think he's going to be as worried about getting taken down. So he can be a little bit more free on the feet.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a very interesting fight. But that fight should be for the title.
Okay.
That fight right there should be for the title.
Do you think, and this is an open-ended question, I don't feel one way or the other really, but do you think it's fair to the rest of the league if someone who has never competed in the UFC before gets one fight and then fights for the belt?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Because what was Dan Hooker ranked?
7th?
Let's take him in here. Oh, Jesus. Come on.
While
buddy.
he's looking this up, I'm going to remind you guys to go to brodownpro.com. We have a whole bunch of cool bro-ass stuff, including more podcasts, T-shirts, hoodies, backpacks, whatever your heart desires. Brodownpro.com. You can also submit questions in a little search box thingamajiggy, or you can do recommend topics for our What Do You Got segments, which comes out on Thursdays. I'm just going to continue to talk.
Yeah,
Well,
I
Andy
don't know where it
searches
is here.
for
The UFC's got it. Okay, number 6.
Number 6.
He's ranked number 6, right?
Yeah.
You come in as a high prospect against Dan Hooker. Everyone's questioning you, and you have a this wasn't a long, drawn-out fight.
No.
He came in, he knocked him out.
It was one-sided.
And it was basically like, this is what I've been telling you. So right now, he's on fire.
Yeah.
Co-main event.
He's on fire.
Co-main event of a Conor McGregor card. More eyes on him than he's ever going to get. And he has that kind of a performance against almost a top 5 guy.
Yeah. I mean, and to back up your point, I mean, realistically, who else do you put in there? Because Gaethje can't do it again. It would have to be Poirier. Yeah. It would have to be Poirier. We just saw McGregor lose to him, so it can't be McGregor. I wonder who's 5th.
So here's the thing: Tony Ferguson lost to Gaethje.
Yeah.
Gaethje lost to Khabib. So those two right there, their stock is not up for the title.
They're out.
The title right now. You have Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier. I'm assuming they're both in the top 5. I'm not looking at the stats because I don't want to navigate the UFC website. It's terrible. So right there, as far as going by the numbers of the rankings, I'm not a huge fan of sticking to that specifically. But right now, I mean, if anything, he took what Dan Hooker had, which means he should be ranked 6th.
Yeah.
If anything.
Yeah. Because we know that the rankings mean things.
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, he's ranked.
No. It's a valid point.
Yeah, and we just fired off that McGregor, Gaethje, and Tony Ferguson are.
They're out of the conversation.
Yeah, they're out of the conversation right now until they string something together.
Yeah.
So right there, you took 3 of the guys that were above him out. So now that puts him at number 3.
Yeah.
You're not far off now.
No, you're not.
So that is the fight to make.
Yeah, I agree.
That is the fight to make.
I'm talked into it.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple other things real quick. The one fight that we had on the card, it was Herb Dean.
For the Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Ribas?
Ribas? Yeah. So there was a little bit of controversy.
A little bit.
Where Rodriguez was the huge underdog. Plus 850 at the time.
I think it was like plus 830.
Yeah, something like that.
So, that's crazy.
Yeah. So whoever bet on her,
$830 for a $100 bet.
Whoever bet on her is having a good time tonight.
Oh, great.
Whoever was the guy that put down the $5,000 for Dan Hooker to win.
Sorry, buddy.
He's getting yelled at by his wife. But
getting divorced.
Yeah, probably. But Yeah, so Rodriguez versus Rivas, Herb Dean kind of stepped in and it looked like he almost tripped, he lost his balance, and he kind of brushed her or tried to avoid brushing her. She thought the fight was over, runs away. Rivas stands up, and Herb. Part of the issue I had with it was Herb wasn't audibly saying, "I didn't stop the fight." He knew that now that I have time to think about it, he knew that she thought that he stopped the fight, but he didn't. And he should. I think he should have said it, because it's not like he just stood back and wasn't involved. He knew that it was kind of like he was kind of entangled.
Yeah.
And she probably thought he touched her and said, "Stop fighting."
It was his fault.
So he should have said, "The fight's not over. The fight's not over." And he kind of didn't. He just looked like, "I didn't stop it. I didn't stop the fight."
Yeah, no, that was definitely a boo-boo on his part.
Yeah, it was a twofer. I mean, Herb Dean's the best in the business, so it's hard to pick out the couple flaws that he's had.
Yeah.
But that was one of them. Was number one, he kind of fell onto them, honest mistake. But I think that because of that, because he knew that he accidentally maybe caused some confusion, he should have specified that he did not stop the fight audibly.
I think, thank God, all's well that ends well, because she got a second knockout.
Yeah.
Literally seconds later. So thank God it went that way.
Yeah.
But it definitely was a mistake. And you're right. He should have at least said something. But sometimes you just get caught up in your own head.
Yeah.
But he's a ref. He
It
should know
sucks,
better.
man. You have split seconds.
It's
split seconds to make decisions. And last but not least, there was a gentleman who was cut from the UFC for violating the safety procedures of the UFC. Apparently had somebody sneak his cornermen or his team, remove their wristbands, and they gave them to another guy. That guy went up in the hotel, wasn't supposed to be there, and then scaled across the balconies and then delivered a bag in the hotel room. That's more concerning than just getting your buddy in to see the fight. I don't know what the fuck that was.
That is a crazy... I didn't really read too much into it. I just knew a guy was cut.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear that whole part of it, but that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why?
I want to know what was in the bag.
I want to know what was in the bag. I want to know what was so important, because you gotta have to know that you're putting yourself on the line here.
Yeah.
To do this. So what is so important that you're willing to risk a fight at UFC 257? You flew all the way to Abu Dhabi. You went through all the hurdles. You spent months training. What is in the goddamn bag that is so important that you're going to risk all that?
How you going to get fired on your day off? Yeah. I don't know. But
real quick.
It's crazy.
Did you hear that USADA changed their minds on marijuana?
Which, you know what? I'm so glad they did that.
Me too.
But at the same time, what the fuck took you so long? How many fucking careers have you fucked up and ruined? They suspended Nick Diaz for 2 years.
Yeah.
I think 2 years for pot.
Yeah.
And then they're like, never mind.
Well, part of it, didn't he just announce that he was coming back? I don't
know. You can never tell with those guys.
Yeah. I think it was hinted at or something along those lines.
It's been hinted at for 6 years.
Shut up.
Yeah.
But the big theory is that he started hinting at it, and you started, I was like, all right, you're coming back. Weed's fine now.
Yeah, weed's good now. It's so fucked up.
I agree with you. The frustration's definitely there, but I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth.
No, I'm glad that it's not.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's not.
Let's let these fighters have a good time at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And just the last thought on that. There was a...
Fucking cold.
There was a thing that Chael Sonnen said, your favorite person in the world. Chael Sonnen said that it's not a drug test and it's not a steroid test. It's a performance enhancing test, right? It's basically like anything that's enhance your performance. But that's a tricky thing, because why would you take anything that doesn't enhance your performance? Everything enhances your performance that an athlete takes, right? You're gonna eat foods that enhance your performance. It's just the level.
It's too late at night for
I know
to get into this discussion.
But it's just funny because the weed thing, it's like, yeah, it does enhance your performance, but you're not allowed to be high. Just too much bullshit. Just let the fucking weed be legal.
Just let the weed be legal.
It's a victory. It's a victory. We'll take it.
All right, guys. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought about tonight's fights. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the little bell notification so you get all of our podcasts. And we're out this bitch.
We're out this bitch.
Peace out.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all